All right, let's get started. Today, I would like to do a little bit of exercise of root locus and give you some design approaches of using root locus. I will use one example to illustrate the main technical new contents that I will introduce to you today. Here are a few exercises of root locus. Some of these are easier, some of these are seemingly easy, but may be a little bit tricky if you really sink into some of the details. Let's look at this one. So all of these are open loop systems. What I'm plotting is this. What I'm plotting is the open loop poles and zeros of G of S, and then the root locus is for a negative feedback loop while K increases from 0 to positive infinity. That's the problem set up. And for this one, open loop has two finite poles on the imaginary axis. It doesn't have finite zeros. All the zeros are at infinity. So we know that the root locus is going to start here, and then it's going to end at infinity. And it has to be symmetric. So how should this be done? The way that it's going to go is, I'm going to use a red. It's easier, hopefully. So it starts at these open loop pole locations and then goes to infinity. This way it's symmetric, and then it satisfies the basic conditions of the asymptote condition. So what are the angles of the asymptotes? The formula is 2k plus 1 pi plus minus. The denominator is whatever is n minus m. I won't write the details. N is the number of poles, finite poles, and m is the number of finite zeros. So this is essentially the denominator order minus numerator order. So for this one is 2 minus 0 is 2, and it's pi over 2 is going to be 90 degrees, positive and negative 90 degrees. So it goes this way. And then there are a few that are in the same spirit. For this one, I have 4 open loop poles, no finite zeros. All the zeros are at infinity, so we need to draw these branches to go to infinity again. Now here, we can do the asymptotes again. It's going to have n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 minus 0. So it's 180 degrees divided by 4. It's going to be 45 degrees, right? So 180 by 2 is 90 divided by 2 is 45. So it's going to have something like this, that's the asymptotes. This is 45 degrees. And then the rest of, there's going to be a negative 45, and then there's going to be a 45 plus 90 degrees. Just follow this formula. And then the second thing, yes?
So where is S? So how do you know where S is located before you start drawing the asymptote?
Well, S is located. You mean this point or for whether very far away? So that's what I'm going to. So let me finish what I wanted to share, and then maybe we can address your question specifically. So first of all, it's 45 degrees. It's for these 4 angles. Second is this middle point, the centroid of the locations. So the last couple of lectures should have covered you where the centroid will be, right? For this case, it's essentially the middle of average point of all these poles. So how to calculate the centroid location is going to be the summation of the number of open loop poles. This is the P is the open loop poles for G of S minus open loop zeros. So these are all the zeros of G, and then divided by, again, anyone? N minus M. All right? So that's how the centroid is going to be calculated. And for this particular case, it's going to be, you don't have any finite zeros. So this is all going to be 0. And then this is the summation of all the poles divided by 4. So this is essentially the geographic central of all these poles. So that's why it's located here. And then we know in the end, the branch is going to go across to approximate these asymptotes. And then for these, it starts again. I'll draw these two branches first. Starts again at these two poles, and then it goes to the asymptote location angles gradually. For this one, it's going to be similar to the other side. In this way, it maintains the symmetry, and then it has all the 4 branches. Don't forget to add these arrows when you draw them. And then a more complete way to draw a root locus is you have to specify k increasing in the direction that you indicate. So that's this example. So I've reviewed the 2 important concepts of the root locus. Now, I want to go to this. For this one, actually, intuitively, it's easy. But if you think about it more, something may come up. 2 open loop poles and 2 open loop finite zero. The root locus is going to be to maintain symmetry. So one of them is going to go to infinity, and then the other one is going to be starting from open loop pole, ending at open loop 0. It's like that. And some of you, if you think about it too much, you may wonder, this is symmetric, but what about, can't I do, I'll use a black. I'll try to find a blue, actually. Can't I do this? I'm going to start in this direction and then do this. You can see the blue branches, they all start from the open loop poles again, and they end at the open loop finite 0 and then 1 at infinity. Why would, and this maintains symmetry. Why wouldn't this be the actual root locus? Does it violate any conditions so far? All right, so to answer this question, it turns out that we can rule out incorrect branch. To answer this question, the most important thing is this. It matters, the main difference between the red and the blue is the red, for this one, it starts to the right, to the left. In other way, the starting angle of this vector is 180 degrees. While for the blue branch, it started in a 0 direction, in a 0 degree. The angle of this direction is 0. So that's the difference. That's the concept of starting angle. It matters, actually. I would like to dive a little bit deeper into just how the starting angle works. You now have the formula you can calculate. So to use the formula, what would be the angle that you can calculate over here? All right? So let's work on this a little bit. Of all these root locus analysis, it only actually all comes down to this closed loop characteristic equation. So we need this. I had a box of this equation last week. We need this formula to hold. That means the angle, so k is positive. So this is already a positive number. So we need the angle of this complex number to be 180 degrees, or plus minus, it doesn't matter, right? We need this complex number to be in this direction in order to make the sign to work. So we need kg of s actually to be here. We need kgs to be -1. So this complex number g of s has to have a phase of 180 degrees. You can say also negative 180 degrees. So that's all that matters. And for this particular case, the story about the starting angle is this. Assume that you start, let's say your starting angle is, you start at somewhere. I'm going to remove this here now. So starting angle means this, right? You start very, very close to this complex pole, to this open loop pole. Let's say you suppose you use here, very, very close to it. And the starting angle is this angle. We don't know exactly what it is yet. Let me call this DEG, starting angle, call it angle start. What we know for sure is that this equation has always to satisfy, right? So we know the g of s for this one, it is s minus, has a 0. and then 1, 2, 2 poles. So the angle of this complex number is determined by, this is the complex analysis. So the angle of g of s is the angle of the numerator, this is complex number, minus the angle of the complex numbers in the denominator. That's how the complex numbers work. This is a complex number. This is a complex number has its phase, so and minus the angle coming from here. That's how g of s, the angle, actually works. So for this one, it's suppose you are very close to here. This is your starting point. The angle to this 0, so the angle from here to here, what it is? I hear 0. Any other? So I'm here. My angle, right? So it's s minus 0. So the angle that I'm looking at is this angle. If this is very, very close to this here, very a little bit next to this one, what is this angle? 180 degrees, right? If this is very close to here. So this is 180 degrees. So what we need is plus minus 180 degrees. This is from here. Has to equal to 180 degrees coming from the first one. And then do it again. If I'm right here, what is the angle to P1? It's the same thing, right? So it's 180 degrees again. And then this angle to P2, this is exactly our starting angle. That is how the starting angle is actually calculated. I usually actually don't want to remember the formulas. This is simple enough for you to derive on the fly. So that's why you can see now you have these canceling with each other. So the starting angle has to be 180 degrees. So that means you have to go this direction. You can't go this direction. Only this direction is 180 degrees. So that's why it's going that direction. So you can do all the same for all these different, you can do it here for this one. And then you will see that it has to go to the right. The starting angle has to be 0. That's the starting angle. And let's see if we can have something. Sometimes the starting angle actually matters. For example, so here, it is actually not easy to come up with a wrong answer. So the blue is you won't come up with the blue instead of the red, right? Blue has so many curves. But for this one, the starting angle actually will matter a little bit. This one, let's work on the asymptotes again. The asymptote angles are, so n is 3, m is 0. So the asymptote angles are 2k plus 1 pi over 3. So that is 180 over 3. So 60 degrees, somewhere 60 degrees like this. -60 degrees, and then negative 60 degrees is here. So 3 asymptotes here, and then this direction, and then these two. So this pole, the root locus branch, starting from here, it's easy to visualize. It's going to go to this direction. And then for these two, the root locus will look like this. All right. Now, again, if you think about it really too much, then you may start to wonder, why can't I go somewhere like this? Why do I go straight to the right? Why can't I do something like this, right? In this way, it is still maintaining the symmetry, can still maintain the symmetry, but it's fundamentally different. It matters, actually. For this true root locus, the black line, you can see the design, how actually is troublesome, right? You can see no matter a tiny little bit of gain, k, will make the system to be unstable. This branch is always on the right-hand side of this imaginary axis. But if the root locus turns out to be like this, then there is a small chance that you can still design K such that the system is stable. So that's a big difference, right? So now to actually rule out the incorrect ones, again, the starting angle is important. All right? So that's why this kind of concept is very helpful. Any questions? Cool. So that's the importance of starting angle. You can calculate the arrival angle. So you can also calculate, for example, in this example, the arrival angle for this open loop 0. And you will also be able to find that the arrival angle is the angle of this branch, how it approaches this 0. You will also see it has to go in this direction. It can't arrive in this direction. The concept is, again, the phase of g of s has to be 180 degrees. If you approach in this direction, you can calculate. Let's actually do this. So if you try to approach from here, let's say this is your arrival, this is on the root locus. So for this one, let's try to calculate the g of s, possible g of s. It's again, this formula doesn't change. It's the angle to this 0 minus the angle to the two poles. So if you are here, what is the angle to the 0, right? So it's going to be 0. What about the angles to these two poles? These are all 0. So you can see it doesn't equal to 180 degrees. So that's why you can't approach from this direction. You have to approach from this direction. If you approach from this direction, you can see the angle, this point, the phase, the angle to this 0, you can see is 180 degrees. So I plotted here already. So it's 180 degrees. And then this point, the angle to P1, P2, these are all 0. And it satisfies the angle condition automatically. That's why the starting angle and the arrival angle, these are actually very helpful. So let's finish up the exercise and see this one. So this one, it is different from some of the previous examples. I use this example to remind you many times the assumption is very important. This root locus, it doesn't have infinite zeros. It has two zeros over here. So the root locus is, you can't use the asymptote equations. The asymptote equations only make sense if you have branches that go to infinity. For this one, you already have these two zeros over here that you need to go to. So you can't use the asymptote condition. You just have to do directly. You can do start angle and arrival angle. So that's a root locus for this one. So we talked about how to derive the starting angle, departure angle, or arrival angle. We talked about examples. Let's now talk about some use cases.